in the depths of the forest, in the depths of the night, where all is darkness, something's not right. The coven is working, their pyres burn bright, the cauldrons are bubbling with the essence of fright. Their task is completed, so curious and quaint. What horror have they created? A fresh jar of body paint? Hello and welcome to the Keep Dancing podcast. I'm Ellie and I'm your host. Tonight I'm joined by Elliot, Meg, Anne and Vicky. We are your 100% unofficial, unexpurgated and slightly spooky source of Strictly Come Dancing analysis and opinions. We aren't neutral, we aren't always polite, but we are always covered in cobwebs and glitter. If you'd like to get in touch with us, email us at keepdancingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at keepdancingpod. We'd love to hear from you, and when we've got rid of even more contestants, we may even have a bit of a question week. We're also making an effort to spread ourselves over all possible social media platforms. We're now on YouTube, Spotify, and we have a website, keepdancingpodcast.com. If you enjoy what you hear, word of mouth is one of the best ways that podcasts are promoted, so please tell your friends about the podcast. Well, Halloween.
Oh God. It was a rhinestone glittery mess as usual, wasn't it?
It was, if anything, a hotter mess even than movies week.
Well, that's just a given, isn't it?
Vicky.
I just feel very weary and very old after the whole thing. It was exhausting.
It was very much like being at a fancy dress party where everybody's gone to a lot more effort than you and you are sort of 3 drinks behind and you're not sure what's going on.
I still don't.
You still don't?
No, I'm still... That was a very odd show. Everyone seemed off the boil. I don't know whether everything got too distracting and forgot it was a dancing show.
Agreed. It just felt it didn't feel like, a lot of it didn't feel like Strictly. And I don't know if it's just because of the introduction of this couple's choice thing, which I'm still indifferent about, but it just felt very, I didn't even enjoy Ashley's Charleston that much because it just didn't feel, it felt so Halloween and so concept, so themed, like a lot of them did. We just got a bit lost.
There were only a couple of them where it wouldn't just be risible if they did the dance again in the final. And I think that probably marks it out as overall a bad week.
Agreed.
Agreed.
They got the 10s out though this week.
Oh God, did they get the 10s out?
Happy.
The Strictly graph is all over the shop because so our friend, the Twitter user at Strictly Graph, has been producing the graph comparing the average scores of winners historically to the scores this year, and it's just all over the shop. Ashley and Faye are massively outscoring previous average winners, and nobody's really come up to the winners track yet. Just as a series, this is an all-over-the-shop series of Strictly.
Yeah, but some people say that makes it more exciting. For me, that makes it more confusing because it kind of confirms one or two things in my head, which we'll get onto later. But at the same time, it just makes a lot more things a glitter ball covered in mud now because I have no idea what's going to happen. Like, normally I'm quite good, like the whole Mystic Meg on this point, and now I'm just a bit lost.
But now your glitter ball's covered in mud.
Yeah, someone's taken it and kicked it across the field, and it's a bit dirty. So I need to get it squeaky clean by next week. Otherwise, I have no idea what's going on.
Hang on, in this metaphor, is the glitter ball Strictly, or is it like your third eye?
Strictly.
Okay. Before we go too far down the esoteric track, let's review some dancers. Dancing the cha-cha-cha and giving us a game stabber to moonwalk, it's Graham Swan and his partner, OT.
OT. Yay.
1980s OT, that sort of San Junipero
With the
look.
perm.
The best possible OT, yeah.
Yeah, loved it. Didn't care about Graham, just OT looked great.
Yeah, it was another one of those ones where I was having to concentrate really hard to look at Graham dancing.
I was really impressed with how Graham took on the notes in the dance-off. I feel he really tried to put some more enthusiasm into those cha-cha basics, which he clearly was struggling with. And yeah, I think he did well, and everyone seems to be hating the cha-cha this year. And I honestly didn't think it was a half bad job. If they hadn't gone first, they may have scored in the mid-20s. I think.
It wasn't the worst cha-cha of the series.
No, by far.
But it was the last cha-cha of the series.
Was it?
Yeah.
Really?
We're done. Because
Sean
Sean got eliminated, that he was the last person who could potentially have done a cha-cha. They're gone. It's done. It's over.
Oh,
How many Charlestons to go?
at least 5, I think.
Well, right.
82.
Remaining Charlestons. Oh, you're not going to like it.
Charles definitely has one.
6.
Oh, God.
But there's potentially 7 salsas left.
Ugh.
Can you tell we're a ballroom podcast and not a Latin podcast?
We like Latin. It's just that
Yeah.
they tend to wedge the Latin more into an unsuitable song.
Yeah. I'm going to say something about an OT routine I never thought I was going to say, ever. I got bored at points in this routine last night. For me, it just dragged on. And I could see Graham was really trying. He did a hell of a lot better in the dance-off, because as Vicky said, he put everything that the judges gave him into the dance-off, and he danced a lot better. But I don't know if it was because he was first out, or because we said last week he shouldn't do a Cha-Cha 2 Thriller, we put a big red flag against it. But I just got a bit bored, and he was just very flat-footed at times, and I was just like, this is probably his worst dance since the American Smooth. And it was such a shame, because if we said at the start of the series that in week 6 Graham would be in the dance-off and be eliminated, not knowing anything, I'd probably say, yeah, that's where I put him. But at this point, I was shocked and sad to see him down there. And I am glad he's back next week, because he fully deserved to stay after that dance-off. But
If he's back in ballroom, he's got potentially some entertaining dancers.
yeah, it was just an off night for him, I feel, and like there's only so much you could do with Thriller without having to put in like the obvious steps. OT was styled as the woman in the music video, though, wasn't she? Like that's what they were going for, was it? That's what I guessed.
Yeah.
She just
Okay,
looked
good.
amazing. Though.
I mean, like I said, she always looks amazing, and yeah, just the routine just fell flat for me, sadly. But we did say last week, you can do Cha-Cha to Thriller. Doesn't mean you should.
But he's survived it.
He's here for another week.
And so he survived it both sort of in competition terms, and I think he survived this with his dignity more or less intact as well, which not everybody did tonight.
No.
No. I think Thriller is a really hard... It's a really iconic song, which in its way is good because you can kind of have nods to the original choreography, but it's also a bit of a stickler because if you don't have nods to the original choreography, people start complaining. So if you do too much of one or not enough of the other, you're kind of stymied. And I think the balance was okay, but he was really lackluster in the first in his original dance, and he was much less so in the dance off, which kind of saved him. So I just think it's such an iconic song. You kind of, unless you kind of copy the whole thing note for note, and it's outstanding, you're always going to be a bit of a loser.
I think one specific reference did him dirty a little bit, which is the Michael Jackson white socks, Obviously,
Yes.
old Michael there wore the white socks to highlight the absolute precision and excellence of his moves. And poor Graham, he didn't need a spotlight shining on his feet.
I think the main thing that caught him out, and it goes back to Thriller being an iconic dance, is that the BPM is too slow for a standard cha-cha. If they did a slow tango to it, it would have worked a hell of a lot better, and then they could do the Thriller bit and then go back into hold. That would work beautifully. So if they did it as a couple's choice and chose to do it to Thriller, it probably would have got 7s or 8s, because then they would have had complete free reign to play with whatever they wanted, not you've got to do this particular dance, which doesn't fit this music or this speed bracket, but we're not speeding it up to make it fit, so you're lumped with it. So I think him and OT just got done a little bit raw there by the producers a bit. And I think OT did amazing with what she was given, but it was a mountain from the start, which they never reached the summit of.
Tell you what music would be quite good for a sort of a dad cha-cha-cha. A bit of Steely Dan. Ricky, don't lose that number.
Yeah.
There we go.
I think the other thing that saved them this week, because there was not, with all the Thriller kind of call-outs, there was not a huge amount of cha-cha. And I think if it hadn't been a theme week, that would have caught them out quite badly.
Yeah, but if it hadn't been a theme week, he wouldn't have been dancing to Thriller. He'd have been dancing to Ricky, Don't Lose That Number, and he'd have been fine. Because he'd be wearing like a pastel linen suit with the sleeves shoved up.
Speaking of dad cha-chas, how has no one actually done a cha-cha to Rick Astley yet? Never Give You Up is like the perfect camp dad cha-cha, which no one's done yet.
Well, we'll have to save
It's next year now.
that for next year now.
Maybe if they rickroll it.
Neil Jones and whoever he's dancing with can dance to
Oh, God.
Rick Astley. Yeah?
The thing is, Neil would.
Yeah, I know.
Gladly.
Yeah, I know.
Week
I feel
one.
Neil would really enjoy that. He'd
Of course
relish
he
it.
would. Week one, he'd be out there with it.
Like if she doesn't have like a particularly good song job that relates to a song, then we just have Neil as Mr. Rick Astley and Bob is your uncle. We've got so far away from the point that I guess we're probably done with Graham. Dancing the tango and showing us Moffat's rightly rejected concept for vaudeville cybermen, it's Stacey Dooley and her partner Kevin. Right, let me give you the official nerd opinion on this as a committed Whovian. Stacey looking good, very nice 13 wig, lovely tango culottes, very nice interpretation of the top that Jodie Whittaker's doctor wears. However, Kevin, the disco vaudeville cyberman, did not work for me. He contravened one of the big Keep Dancing Pod rules of obscuring the face. I've said my piece.
And the ears, by the sounds of it, which raises the question of, if Kevin couldn't hear anything with those headphones on, how did he hear the music unless it was playing in his headphones? Like, because he said he couldn't hear a thing, but then I question, how could you hear the timing then?
Well,
Unless Stacey was leading the dance.
he was acting up, and it's different frequencies. Those ear defenders, they basically take a lot of the energy out of the treble, but still let you feel the bass. So,
yeah, I mean, that aside, I absolutely loved this. I loved the concept. I loved the idea of it. I loved her routine. The frame was brilliant. The only 2 points I picked up on is that whenever she was marching, she marched with straight arms, and I was like, I would like her once just to like flex her arms as she was marching, and then when she was taking over as man, and this is a minor point, but where she's been so used to doing female posture, when she took up the man's hold, she went into woman posture with her top line too far back. But apart from that, I loved it. It was brilliant.
I thought Kevin's top line looked really, really weird when he went into the follower role.
It was never going to be like great, but it was only like 2 bars, so it wasn't too bad. I just picked it up straight away that she was leaning backwards. But
He spent longer wheeling around backwards as a clock arm, which is certainly a thing.
I loved this. I love those two. They're still my winners, and yeah, she's just smashing it. I absolutely love how well she's doing now because she's in the final. Like, we just need to accept it now. Just give her the glitter ball already. I think she's got this now.
In terms of YouTube views, she is now sort of consistently one of the sort of top 3 there. Joe and Diane obviously are still massively ahead of everybody else. And Faye got a big bump this week. But Stacey and Kevin are up there week after week now. So I think, you're probably right that she's in the final. I just think, last year we had the Wonder Woman routine and the Morecambe and Wise routine, and I felt like that was coming from the relationship between Kevin and Susan. I feel like Kevin's themes this year are coming a bit more from Kevin. I'm not seeing Stacey reflected in them as much this year.
I completely agree. There was someone on Twitter said when I was watching this, I totally agreed with it. Like, the producers are so eager for a Kevin doing well or a Kevin win that Stacey is purely an accessory at this point. And yes, she is dancing well for a non-dancer, but I don't think she's as good as the judges are making out. And for me, her core is still very floppy, and she danced the tango well, but it didn't have the finesse of, a Faye or an Ashley routine, which I guess you wouldn't expect it to, but I just, I'm struggling to get on board with the Stacey train.
And I also think that maybe if she was a Doctor Who fan, we might have heard a couple of little Doctor Who references slipping in there. There was nothing. She's not seen the show. She's just doing a bit of BBC cross-branding there because Kevin likes Doctor Who.
But you notice how Kevin again gets a nice new shiny theme that's not been done before. Graham gets Thriller that's been done about 3 times before, but he gets a nice new shiny theme that hasn't been done.
It is getting embarrassing at this point, though, that Kevin hasn't won.
Yeah, so I feel they just need to clean that up this series, and then we'll move on and have a new thing we're pursuing next year.
Oh, well, Kevin has a lovely West End adventure as Stacey Jacks.
He does. I'm sounding like I hate Kevin. I really like him. It's just him and Strictly. I've had such a journey. I was going to say. I don't know. It just feels a little contrived for me at this point. That he's got a likable non-dancer and all these nice the Minions and the Doctor Who and all this sort of thing going on, and yeah.
Well, a show's got to do what a show's got to do.
Yeah, it does.
You do kind of have to, at this point, round the Kevin story. You have to bring the Kevin story to some kind of point of inflection this year.
I will say, though, obviously because Doctor Who is a brand new concept.
It's not. It's been done before. Jay and Aliona did a really crap Doctor Who Charleston.
But that's the thing. Like, who of those
Sorry.
Who are those remaining pros could you trust besides OT and Katya? Because that's the obvious answer. Who else would you trust with a Doctor Who themed dance though, without butchering it and making it look awful? And they still managed to do a proper tango to the Doctor Who theme. The only Doctor Who references were she was dressed like Jodie Whittaker and he was a Cyberman. Even though I say, why was he not dressed like Matt Smith or David Tennant? 2 doctors dancing together. That would be really adorable. Well,
I did actually have an argument with a Doctor Who fan on Twitter this week. I know I need to get a hobby about how I wanted Kevin to be dressed.
Someone been wrong on the internet.
Somebody was wrong on the internet. I wanted the tango to be a multi-doctor story because I think Kevin could probably pull off David Tennant's costume or Matt Smith's costume, but this Doctor Who fan was aghast that 2 doctors might do a sexy dance together, and so I had to tell them about fan fiction. In the end, this was actually a really chaste tango anyway. It was like a sort of a combat tango rather than a smoochy tango.
Yeah, but I have no issue with the combat tango. Like, I like the aggression. It doesn't always have to be like this sensual, passionate, two lovers arguing sort of thing. I think it worked. Don't get me wrong.
That's more the doctor. That's more the Doctor and the Master, though, than the Doctor and themselves.
See, there's the thing. Why wasn't he dressed like the Master? Like, there's so many different things they could have gone where he didn't have to look absolutely ridiculous. But again, Kevin will never say no to looking the most ridiculous on the night, even though he wasn't, but he was close.
Never obscure the face. The body paint is the scariest thing you can see on Halloween.
I just don't have the patience to sit in that makeup chair for God knows how long for it.
They've got their phones, they're fine. They're all just on Insta stories making time lapses of their faces.
Yeah.
Speaking of, dancing a jive that combines some of my least favourite things: puppets, staticky man-made fibres, and flat shoes for dancing. It's Dr. Ranj and his partner Jeanette.
Continuing the theme of face paint and the rest of him.
Ranj he dodged such a bullet. He could have been eliminated from Strictly while dressed as a Swiffer.
That would have been the most iconic exit in Strictly history.
He did not survive tonight with his dignity intact, and this is a man who already does a song called the Poo Song on the internet. Is it the Poo Song?
Yes, it is. The Poo Song.
What? I need to look at this immediately.
You've got to know what your poo's like to see if you know, how healthy you are.
Sure.
And how you go to the toilet and wash and...
And Dr.
like that.
Ranj
To
sings...
clarify, this is a CBeebies thing, right? I hope this is a CBeebies
get
thing.
more soon.
No,
Okay,
it's
good.
no. This is This Morning. He sings it
Yes.
directly to Piers Morgan.
Oh, God.
Oh, I've broken myself.
Reboot Ellie out of
I think somewhere in there they did a jive.
Really?
Yeah, I think they were swiftering I think he was polishing the Strictly dance floor, actually.
Now, I know
Yes.
Emily liked the pyjamas, but I did think child Jeanette was deeply sinister.
Yes.
And then there were
Yep.
puppets, which I also find deeply sinister. The whole thing, sinister.
The VT made me laugh, which, does take a lot, especially on Halloween, for a Halloween VT. But just the idea of the monster under the bed being like Craig.
There was just so much distraction in that, even if there had have been a jive in there, you wouldn't have ever noticed it.
Do you know what distracted me? During the dance, lovely Teresa from DSI tweeted that the person who was working the puppets from under the bed was Trent Widden. As in the pro that...
He deserves more.
Oh,
Yeah, as in the pro that danced with Pixie Lott.
He's still around?
wow. Oh,
And
God.
he's stuck under the bed.
That's where he's been for the last 4 years.
He got into the prop store, he got stuck and he couldn't get out.
There's Oksana down there with him as well. Like the 1 year pros. They're just all there together.
Oksana.
Anya's involved this year for sure. She was the shoes in the advert.
Oh. It is quite nice. I think the Strictly family is a bit like the Doctor Who family. Once you're in, you can never leave.
Yeah,
Even
they just
though
got
there's some people
Unless
that
you burn
probably
all your
wish-
bridges.
Yeah, unless you go out in a blaze of glory, you're stuck there.
Yeah, and then you have to go write a column for Hello magazine or whatever it is that Brendan does.
Is that
Or
what
do
he's
Dancing
doing
on
nowadays?
Ice.
can't wait.
I still can't wait to see Sarah Alto absolutely shower ice crystals all over James Jordan. Whose dance are we talking about?
Ranges.
Oh,
because
God, yeah.
we try to blur it out as much as we can because he danced in slippers. They were
Yeah.
slippers, right? They
Yeah.
looked it.
Furry slippers.
I mean, they looked
Furry
comfy.
slippers.
I would wear them around the house on national TV, doing a jive. Not so much. And again, this is
Punching
another
the
story
dance
of why does the concept always get in the way of Ranj's dancing? He is starting, for lack of a better word, starting to look like a joke because he's done one serious dance which went really well, but everything else has just been, oh, look how much fun he's having. I just like, yeah, but I want him to do well. I really, really do. Because I love Dr. Ranj as a person and we've loved him. But it's getting serious now. It's week 6. Like, good people are going to start dropping soon, and they need to get serious. I'm getting a bit bored of just the comedy element coming from Raj and Jeanette now.
Do you think it's potentially, well, I don't know, like, homophobic's probably the wrong way to say it, but, like, playing into a sort of a cuddly, sexless, adorable gay best friend stereotype?
Yeah, because Jeanette and Raj are he's her gay best friend role. It's black and white in my eyes. Someone who's in that LGBT bubble. Yes, and I think they have all these ideas, and now they have got someone who's in that demographic. They can easily sell it to him than any other celebrity who's got fragile masculinity, not looking at anyone in particular, who could have gone in full drag this weekend but bottled it. Yeah, I think he's just an easy target to throw all this, because he's just going to, it comes across like he's a yes man to the producers. Anything they want him to do or wear, he will just jump into because that's Strictly. And I don't think he's fully aware of this is actually hurting him in the competition, and we actually want him to go far and do well.
Is it, though? Because, the kid vote is actually really important this year, apparently, since we've had Minions and Monsters and things.
It will only get him so far, and his demographic and his vote is pretty much locked in. I'm pretty sure he's coming top 3 every single week. But the thing is, though, if he sharpens up and becomes serious and gets really good, he could then win over the neutral vote as well, and then he could somehow make himself a contender if he got the judges on his side as well. He has the potential, and he's got Jeanette, who we have seen as a good choreographer, like when she was with Jake, whatever his name was from years ago. So she has the potential as well. It's just being wasted, and that's what's frustrating me. He should have been in the dance-off tonight. I was fully expecting him to be, but yeah, he dodged a massive, giant, furry blue bullet. I think he's going to get to Blackpool and then his luck will run out. I think Blackpool is his stopping point at this rate.
He really does need to kind of crack on and dance because he's got such a big and varied base that's voting for him. If he keeps coming out with these, in inverted commas, joke routines, people are going to start going, oh, he's always getting through, but he's not actually the best dancer. And the tide's going to turn against him. And I don't want that to happen. I want him to get through on merit, not just because he's on so many different TV programmes.
His best routine was the most over-the-top machismo butch thing he's done on the series. He's sambering to George Michael next week.
Oh, God. It's going to be Faith, isn't it? He's going to samba to Faith. That's the only samba.
That's the one, isn't it?
That is the one. And the last person to do that was Abby Clancy, and that was really good. So this is... Oh, no. Oh, no. I want him to do... That's the thing, like, when he had to be serious and couldn't be a joke, he was fantastic. Mm-hmm. He was brilliant in the passo. Why are they giving him a samba? Give him a tango or something. Or a waltz. Make him be this elegant gentleman. Because we haven't seen that from him either. We haven't seen his elegant demure side either. And unless they think he's going to get that far, and then he's going to be like a late bloomer revelation or something, where he's going to have a foxtrot, an American smooth, and all these... Oh, he's done the American smooth, but...
If he survives the samba, he's still got the Charleston in play as well.
Which will be the week after that, no doubt, because Jeanette will always go for the fun option rather than the serious option. And, I want him to do well, but like Anne said, he needs to crack on, because I want him to get through on merit, not just because he's got the demographic behind him.
Yeah. I know Ranj is a really happy, kind of cheerful, he wants to please people, but I don't want to see a dance where he's that character all the time. I want to see him be different characters. I want to see him surprise us. And if he's doing these happy, shiny dances, it's going to get samey.
We know the man's got depths. We want to see them.
Yeah.
Meg, have you come in on Ranj yet?
No.
Do you wanna?
I pretty much agree with everyone else. It does feel a bit like he gets all the themes. He needs to kick it up a notch. I'm just kind of dreading it, to be honest. Do we know what he's doing next?
Yeah, he's doing a samba to Faith.
Oh, I can't swear on this podcast.
No.
so
No.
just
No. Do you
managed
want
not to?
I will put like an eagle squawk in over it or something.
No, it's fine. like a horror scream, maybe.
Yes, well, the sound effects CD is in play, so insert scream. Dancing the rumba, and I am still not sure where Aliash was keeping that handful of magical glitter. It's Kate Silverton and her partner, Aliash. My favourite lighting cue in the entire episode was where they went from the blue-toned white spot to the gold-toned white spot and auto-magically made Kate and Aliash come to life. In terms of a rumba, though, I got nothing.
I was so disappointed. I wanted such filth, and I didn't get it. And now Kate is plateauing a little bit in the mid-20s, and I don't know where this is going, and I'm very distressed about the whole situation.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I didn't like the sound effects of like the ice cracking when they were moving. I just thought that was not needed. Personally, I'm pretty sure I have that shirt Aliash has. It's just got shorts attached to it. It's just not an open top. I'm pretty sure I have the exact same one. Yeah, I don't know where he's hiding that handful of glitter either. There were moments. This was really good. And, like, she had fluidity and she had moments, but it just lacked attack and conviction. Also, it's like there were moments where she could have like really gone forward towards Aliash and didn't, and just moments like that. And also, this song, as good as it is, again, it's a bit too slow for a rumba. It has a really awkward slow beat to it. So again, it's more filling the music, which we saw Kate struggle with in the samba. So
I have found Kate's music choices this year to be quite weird. So for her tango, she had that song No Roots by Alice Merton, which I don't even think was a single in the UK. She had the Viennese Waltz to a song that I'd never heard before last week. And then she had a sort of a B-tier single from Rag and Bone Man for her rumba. Like, I feel like these are her personal choices, but I don't know that giving her personal choices is necessarily the right thing.
They're not working. Like, they're good songs, like, they're enjoyable songs, but when you put them in the dancing element for what she's trying to do, they're not paying off, mainly because of the speed. Like, we said that in the samba, I'm now saying this in the rumba. It's hurting her, and yeah, I really want Kate to do well, and she is someone who is doing well in the ballroom, but she needs a breakthrough in Latin, but she's running out of Latin dances. I think she's literally got the jive, the passo, and the salsa left, I think.
And she may even survive to an Argentine tango.
True, we need to see that Argentine tango, so we better get that.
Absolutely.
I'm getting quite fearful for a jive from her, actually. Like, I'm hoping I can even skip that one, but it's been worried. A few weeks since. Sorry, it's the last, I guess, good dance like she did was the Jessica Rabbit one, which was a few weeks ago, and we need some good ballroom out of her for her to really stamp herself on the competition a little bit, because she's been towards the bottom the last few weeks, and I do think she's got some good routines in her. If Aliash can just get the choreography right, and they can have some decent music choices as well.
It would be nice for her to get
having such a lovely time.
It would be nice for her to get her American Smooth or a Paso Doble next week. Something with a bit of va-va-voom and power to it.
Yeah, I did find it quite strange as well that like all her she's been kind of renowned for like doing these really like hot, sexy routines, and then they do an Ice Queen style rumba, and it's all very kind of tepid and controlled and placed, and I found that quite strange.
I think they should probably have gone down the succubus route. So I've been watching the Sabrina Netflix thing this weekend as well. It's rather good.
There was just no pressure through her feet, or there was no kind of movement through her toes and her knees and through her hips. And I mean, if she can't do that in a rumba, then being able to kind of get the pressure through her foot in a jive to keep her balance is going to be, it's not going to happen. So hopefully she gets some ballroom next week. I don't think I want to see her do a jive.
Did you see that Shirley put a lovely video tutorial that she filmed in her magnificent palatial kitchen of how to do the pressure into the floor on your rumba walks? It was magnificent.
Shirley living for this.
In a very sparkly Latin heels.
Shirley Ballas is this year's content queen.
Hashtag shake it with Shirley, as she put. There's a hashtag where she can see all her stuff, and she said she will, on each Sunday, she will share some of her favourites or the best of the response to her tips, as she said.
Well, folks, you know what we have to do. Next week, we have to participate.
Of course. I will say this.
I'm taking notes for your rumba.
Ali Ash's face during the critiques next to Tess was gold. I can't remember if he was offended or being silly with it, but I just remember him looking slightly annoyed, and I found it really funny for some reason. His face was gold during the critiques of Kate. Because I don't think he was too happy with what they were saying.
Our precious cinnamon roll cannot do negative face expressions.
He gave it a good go, though.
Bless him. I had hyped myself up for it, and I was disappointed.
And I'm kind of surprised that it went through, but...
in fact, that's what it was. It was like visiting one of those ice bars. You buy a ticket, you get excited for it, you dress up special, and then you go and you're just drinking a vodka and Coke somewhere
and
slightly cold. Yeah.
I will say, actually, about the whole surprise they got through comment. Kate actually had the biggest cheer when she got called safe tonight. I did notice she got a huge reaction inside the arena, which is probably an indicator that she is doing well in the televote, because she got a big cheer when she got called. I don't know if that's her, or that's because people love Ali Ash's professional, or maybe it's a combination of the pair, but she could be up there with the public vote, I feel, judging by that reaction. It just stuck out with me. Yeah,
she'll be getting the Ali Ash fans, and she will also be getting the people who like to vote for a woman who is slightly older and feeling herself.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't mention, talking about the BBC and newsreaders, Moira Stewart. Why has she never done it?
Too much dignity.
Vastly too much dignity.
We say she's reading out the T's and C's dressed like a vampire. Was it a vampire?
She was dressed like...
Horns.
She was... looking like a sort of a Satanist lady that lunches in that caftan. It was marvellous.
Does she still do the news? Is she still on the BBC? Or was she just kept in storage now? Because I haven't seen her in years.
I think the news has gone downhill since Moira Stewart stopped doing it.
I've not seen... I watch BBC News a lot because newsreaders. And no, I've not seen her for a while. But I've also not seen Kate doing... Kate's not done BBC Breakfast in a long time, which has made me very sad.
Kate and Elias might be dancing on thin ice, getting past Blackpool, though. I think they will get to Blackpool. I'm just not sure they will get any further.
Yeah, we're now at that point where Blackpool, we've had people who've made it to Halloween. We're now getting rid of the next set, people who have no chance of making it to the final, who will be gone before Blackpool.
Yeah.
And Kate, I'm afraid, probably is in that group, along with Lauren, Graham, Ranj.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like her to get to Blackpool, but I don't think she'll get any further than Blackpool.
Well, we shall have to see what comes up next for the lovely, delicious Kate. Dancing the American smooth and becoming the latest victim of the strictly fog of doom. It's Danny John Jules and his partner, Amy. Bit of a missed opportunity, I guess. I liked the opening, the only proper use of a fog of doom is to emerge from it sepulchrally. Didn't quite do the entrance like Ukrainian Eurovision representative Melovin did at the start of his performance, where he was essentially emerged from a piano on a spring-mounted arm. It would have been nice to see Danny do that, but what we got was okay.
The one leg rising.
You don't come back from the dead all in one piece, you see.
Yeah, I know. It was. I mean, I suppose a dancer would come foot first. I actually don't remember this dance, and I have watched it several times because of that. Because
the opening was so striking in contrast to anything else about it?
Yeah, that's about it. Like, after the opening, my brain just goes, nope, that was it, done now, which is sad.
Yeah. This one also had some choreography you could have quoted, because the Doctor and the Medics version does have...
Oh, yeah. I know.
Doctor and the Medics.
I mean, it would be nice to critique the footwork, but there was so much fog, dry ice. I mean, was that on purpose, or...
Anne, do you think this is a do you think this is a dancing show, Anne?
I do try and get something out of it. I do try and, look for the... Even my husband got annoyed that there was so much fog.
It's a musical soap opera with frocks,
I know.
I'm now like EastEnders with them all in ball gowns, like running through the square after each other. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Singing.
No, wait, so they do that in Children in Need, sorry. That's when they do that. Yeah, I completely forgot this dance. Like, this was the most forgettable for me, and I actually thought Danny could have been in the dance-off because it was so forgettable, and it's just easy to slip into there. When there's a three-way tie at the bottom, it's very easy just to fall in there. And I was questioning it for the entire dance until they explained why Amy was in man's shoes, but then they mentioned she injured her ankle, and it's like, okay, makes sense, because you can't really wear heels when you've got a dodgy ankle. It's not advised. But, yeah, I didn't get anything. I didn't get their concept. I didn't get what the song of it. Like, it's just... It was like the producers went, well, this is something Halloween-y and death. This is something like... They sort of glued together, and you could see like it was like slowly tipping over, and they were just wanting Danny maybe just to like hurry up so they could move on and we wouldn't think about it.
If you've left it until actual afternoon of the 31st of October to come up with your Halloween costume, and you have to go digging around in the bin.
It was really just... They were the last in line. They had nothing else, so they threw everything and sort of stuck to the wall and went, that's it. It wasn't good. And then Bruno goes and gives it a 9, and at which point I did spit out my drink and shout, what at the TV? Like, I don't normally get, like, animated watching Strictly, but even then I had to kind of just go, Bruno, maybe you need another week off, and actually get a dancing judge in instead of Alfonso, but what?
The American Smooth is supposed to be one of your big cards. It's supposed to be one of your spectaculars. It just didn't.
And especially after his jive last week, which they didn't reference at all in his VT, like it never happened that he got the first 10 of the series, which I found peculiar. It's almost like he wasn't supposed to get it.
Yes. It was a mistake.
No, I was going to say, I just found it funny that he also had a bloke, probably some Paul Adam work experience, who got paid to sit in a closet and roll a pumpkin past Danny and Amy in the training room. I found that hysterical to see this pumpkin roll across the floor. I don't know why I found it funny, but like this pumpkin just rolling along the floor just made me chuckle.
You do all sorts when you're a runner.
I mean, I find myself on the pod each week when I just find Danny and Amy really blah, and it's another week like that. I wish I could have come on and spoken to them about their jive, which I did think was really fab, and I thought, oh, maybe I can quite like this couple, but again, it was just back to the kind of forgettable, and I'm starting to think, is it maybe Amy's choreography? And I thought Danny himself was very stilted, quite robotic, but I did think it was very interesting they didn't make much fuss about that 10. When you did the extra podcast with the two cynics one about the cues for the audience and what is and isn't said, that was very interesting that they didn't make much fuss about that.
I just wish I could kind of shake Danny sometimes and say, just stop and breathe through it. You don't have to give it 100% all the time, because I think that's why he gets quite stilted and quite kind of jilted and stiff. I just want him to kind of relax, and he's very pernickety with his fingers and his wrists, and I just just loosen up a little bit. You don't have to give it 100% from start to finish.
If he relaxes, he's got every other gentleman contestant beat hands down.
Yeah.
He is one of those, I think, if and when he ends up in the dance-off, he's going to have some kind of existential crisis and, really question everything and go on It Takes Two and just have a bit of a breakdown. Not understand why. A bit more Charles Venn.
I think the dance-off will... I think he may only have one dance-off, because I think if he falls into it, he'll get so in his head, and then it could do more damage than good, because then he'll get so in on himself for every little detail of the first time round, it will just completely muck with his head instead of going out there clear-headed and just doing what he can, which is what you need to do in a situation of a dance-off. Being in one last week in my competition, I can attest to that. You just need to go out there, do your best, and see what happens. But I don't see that as Danny is that sort of person. He just seems so... He comes across as such a perfectionist, it's getting in the way. He needs to just breathe and just enjoy it 1 week.
At the moment, the problem I'm having with Danny is that he's not really engaging. I mean, Charles Venn engages via affirmations. He has so much to bring to the show. But I don't know, Danny spends a lot of time, I think, at the moment sort of sitting back and letting it just flow past, which might also, I think, be coming out in his dancing a bit at the moment.
Is he maybe thinking he's a bit too cool for it?
Maybe. I mean, at the end of tonight's show, like in the little credit bit, I think he was basically I know nothing about next week's dance, and he was trying to be like, I like to be surprised, but it was like the opposite of I like to be surprised. The mouth said those words.
It was I know nothing and care nothing.
The mouth said the words, but the eyes said, I'm Donny John Jules, get me out of here.
Well, I mean, maybe it is just maybe it's not what he wanted to do after all. But yes, we shall see. Maybe he's having a Latin next week. He's still yet to do a salsa, a samba, or a rumba. And there's the threat of couple's choice hanging over us all again.
The rumba is very hard for the man.
Yeah.
Especially a spiky man. He could probably do quite a good Charleston,
yes.
though.
Yeah.
I think there's a good Charleston in there. But anyway, we hope you've enjoyed your day off, Danny. Now get back to it. And let's see something next week. Dancing the Charleston, while somehow becoming one with puffball mushrooms, it's Ashley Roberts and her partner, Pasha. Right, you know when we complain about theming?
Yes.
This is exhibit A through E of how to make it very difficult to see a very good dance.
What producer's acid fever dream was this? Oh my good lord, where do we start deciphering this?
Well, apparently it was another movie week offcut. It was something to do with the Trolls movie.
Yes.
Didn't get that at all. I have so many questions. I mean, first and foremost, they needed Ashley to start getting 10s from this week on. So, of course, they give her Pasha's staple dance, which he's done well with every single celebrity he's been given. He's got 2 40s with a Charleston. So, of course, he was going to do well with Ashley in the Charleston, because it's Pasha's dance on Strictly. Even
with a belly. Even with a massive belly.
And the thing
terrifying costume.
And, I hate to say it, but as a concept, I didn't enjoy this, because also they used Witch Doctor, which obviously he's been used before. The vocal arrangement was identical as to when Lisa and Robin did it a few years ago on Halloween week. It's pitch identical. They could have literally just had a soundboard over the top of it with the singers miming. And obviously, it didn't help that she was in a mushrooms thing and he had a belly, but they didn't actually touch hands for the first 45 seconds of their routine.
Well, they couldn't, because she was wearing a foot-wide skirt and he had a giant belly.
That's a slight problem in a Charleston or in a couples competition. At times they look like two soloists competing against each other.
It was another thing where the costumes made them not a matched pair as well.
It was just a weird concept, a weird story arc. The only plus out of it is that we didn't see Ashley's roots this week, which was nice. Instead, we had her in a bubblegum wig.
I'm fuming about the whole thing.
Yeah,
let it all out, Vicky. Let it all out.
Breathing into a paper bag right now.
This was supposed to be a highlight.
I I just didn't feel it though. Like it obviously it was good, but I never felt in the way that the costumes weren't particularly matchy. Like maybe I'm just not remembering this right, but I just didn't get that really sharp side by side Charleston feel. Am I totally like hallucinating?
No, it was a very fluid Charleston.
Yeah.
Like their arm movements and stuff were very fluid, and it wasn't like bang bang bang. It was like, it wasn't the most like, for lack of a word, spiky, I guess.
Yeah, it
like,
wasn't staccato,
yeah,
was it?
that's the word. Yeah.
It wasn't Istanbul, not Constantinople. It was nowhere near that.
Oh no, we can't even compare it to that. That's an iconic Charleston, which I love.
Can we talk about Pasha's acting in the VT?
Yes.
Do we have to?
Oh, I loved it so much.
He tries so hard. I think...
And Ashley was just merrily going along with it, and it was just adorable. And then the way he just deadpan at the end, he was like, I told her not to drink it.
I want to be on that bus where Ashley Roberts just Charleston's onto the bus. Could you just imagine a bloke in your normal commute, you see just like really happy, excitable girl Charlestoning on a bus? I'd be like, okay, what's going on here then?
Thinking back to their training footage on It Takes Two, I was like borderline excited about a Charleston, which is not in character for me because I thought it just looked clean and neat and sharp. And obviously they were going to mess it up with the costuming and everything. Oh, just so cross.
So much got in the way. So much got in the way of that becoming a brilliant dance. And the one thing that really hacked me off were her shoes, because she couldn't actually get up onto her heels when she did that balance. And on some swivels, she just couldn't because they were sticking.
Converse is an idiot thing to wear for a
That's
Charleston.
stupid.
They don't swivel.
No.
Like, they've got...
And there's no flexibility in your ankle to go kind of forwards and backwards. You can do a bit side to side, but then the sole is getting in the way. So she should have just done it in, she could have done it in ballet shoes. It would have looked better.
Or just shorter Converse. She had the high top Converses on, which got up to past her ankle. So of course she couldn't get any swivel because. And the thing is, like, they couldn't even try and hide their Converse because the logo was right there on the shoe. It was blatantly obvious.
The Converse were there for sort of costume reasons. This was the costuming actually getting in the way of their ability to perform the dance.
Look, they're going to be in the final. Well, if they make the final, because I'm still not sure about her, they will do it again. But obviously, they won't have the time to be all stupidly done up like that. So hopefully, they'll have a different outfit on and we'll actually be able to see a proper routine from them, or their couple's choice will be like a theatre Charleston routine, so we can see a proper Charleston from them. Because I want to understand why it's got tens, but there's just so much blocking it, which I have to get through first to kind of go, oh yeah, there was a dance going on as well. Because I couldn't tell you how good her footwork or anything was because I just don't remember it.
It wasn't that good.
There we go then.
It wasn't awful. It wasn't awful. She did all the steps. It was full of steps, but they weren't completed brilliantly because A, the shoes, and B, she had a stupid dress on, and Pasha looked like a pregnant man.
At least we know Ashley Roberts and Kimberly Wyatt are two different people because she was in the audience. So we know they're not the same person anymore.
Yeah. She still hasn't subbed in Kimberly for a week yet, which we were fully expecting because no one can tell the difference.
Nicole Scherzinger looking the least happy to be anywhere. I've seen people on trial in The Hague look more pleased to be there.
Or as my friend said, she's got nothing to do now. She's not Next Factor, so she had a 3 Saturday night. So she went down there.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Did anyone notice she wasn't in the audience for the results show though?
No. Did she run?
She just couldn't be bothered.
It's like, I've seen my song get played. I've got that royalty money. I'm off. Yeah.
She had a dinner reservation. It's fine. Right. Okay. I think we finished dragging that one. Dancing a Viennese waltz with a story about how women will eventually turn on you if you treat them like objects. It's Sean Walsh and his partner, Katya.
Oh.
I would have quite liked to have seen this routine danced by somebody who could count to 3 without moving their lips.
Yes.
I would like to dance by someone who could count to 3 and stay on the beat of 3 as well. My God, his timing was dreadful. It was off from the word go. He never got it back.
Has he managed to get away with not having any noticeable timing before because everything else was 4/4 and you can sort of fake it, and it's just that 3/4 is just no, you can't hide that.
His timing actually hasn't been that bad with the other dances, but this one was glaringly obvious, especially in the Viennese when the orchestra, as Craig said, the downbeat and the timing in Viennese is so obvious in a Viennese, you can't really have an excuse for being off because you can hear it. Like once you hear it, it's there.
And in that Screaming Jay Hawkins arrangement of I Put a Spell on You as well, the orchestra is literally honking the beat at you.
Like there's no excuse. Like this just I love the idea. I love the concept and the ending where the doll took over. I love that idea, and again that's a credit to Katya for being so clever. The thing that really made me want to jump through the TV and basically punch Sean is A, his timing, and B, he talked to Katya like they were having a Sunday dinner the entire time through that dance-off, and he gave up. He completely gave up in that dance-off tonight, and that angers me more than anything. You could see it, he just didn't care. Like, when he was on his own, and the things of his body and everything, it was nowhere near the same as with the Saturday night.
Yeah, he was just walking through.
It's like he knew, right, my stint on this show with this scandal has ran out, the public don't want me here anymore, what's the point in trying? The judges don't like me, there's no point. And I find that insulting to Katya as well. Like, how I'd be furious if I was the pro.
Yeah, Katya just did seem really, really just weary in her exit speeches.
They seemed over it, and it's just offensive. Like, if I was a pro and my celebrity just given up in the dance-off, I would have just stopped and said, what's the point? Like, they don't want to do it.
And Vic is at home on the sofa in her fluffy slippers going, you kicked me out so you could have one more week of this. Fools.
Yeah, I wanted to like this Viennese. I wanted to like them. You know, he did have some good dances, but he just, it was just an embarrassing, awkward way to leave. Like, he left and actually tried, and it's like, okay, you lost out to a better dancer, and this just wasn't your dance. Fine, but he gave up, and that just irks me more than anything, and it's just a shame that is the last of Sean and Strictly, because I wanted him to at least go out on some sort of high, but he went through the floor halfway to China.
No, he went out... no dignity in comedy lederhosen. Meg, what do you think of the Strictly's biggest likability deficit this year?
It's over. Oh, that was painful.
We can get back to normal.
No more wholesomeness.
Whatever normal is.
I think he had a high point, and that was the Matrix. And then, scandal aside, his dancing just fell off a cliff, basically. It made a cartoon cliff-falling noise.
Well, to be honest, he took a job that he thought would keep him busy until Christmas, lead to increased bookings next year and probably like a BBC Two quiz show or something. And instead, he has largely destroyed his career with it.
Let's just say I'm playing the world's saddest song on the world's tiniest violin for him right now.
And how big is the violin that you have?
No, I can't even be bothered to get the violin out.
That big?
Really. Violin schmilin. Do you know what? There were a lot of things going against Sean in that dance. First thing is, I still... even though I should probably know, I still don't know why he was in that lederhosen. That just was the weirdest costume ever.
Because he was some Geppetto dealio, and apparently
that's
Geppetto
well-known
is
Italian costuming.
Italian.
Yes, Italians.
Yes, it is. Some of it, yeah.
Some
the
of
Germanic
Italy's near the
speaking part
Alps.
of it. But also, I mean, for most of that dance, I was looking at Katja being a brilliant doll. And just her isolations and her face and just the way she was moving was just brilliant. So most of my time I wasn't even looking at him. And he had no rise and fall. He couldn't get the timing. I'm actually more surprised that he got enough votes to be bottom tied. How that happened, I do not know. He shouldn't have been anywhere near tied at the bottom with the others. He should have been at least 3 or 4 points less than what he actually got.
They do seem to have decided that like 4 is about the minimum you can give somebody sensibly.
Technically, this wasn't his worst dance from the scoring point of view. This was his worst dance. Like, this is worse than the jive. At least the jive was entertaining. At least the jive, he sold it. And, you know, he had some moments. And yes, the Matrix dance was amazing. We can never take that away from him. This was just flat-footed, dull, uninspired from him. He just... And it was just bleh. It was just a big bucket of meh.
It was perfunctory.
It's like a placeholder.
It was a contractual obligation Viennese waltz.
No, I was just, agreeing with, perfunctory is an excellent word. I was just going to say, I've never seen anyone look so done, and like given the kind of dark circle makeup, in addition to like just how done he was with the whole situation, didn't really help. And like, you know, Katya's turning up, doing a nice routine for him, putting on the nice dress and nice makeup, but it was just not going to happen. And I feel like they weathered the scandal storm week really well with the Charleston, and then I feel like it just got to them, and it's just a shame for Katya more. Like I can't say I'm sad for him. My violin is rather on the small side too.
I hope that this isn't the last that we see of Katya and Neil on the show.
I don't think so. I think this whole thing will die down, and then we can't take away that she is one of the most fantastic choreographers on the show, alongside Oti, hence why the stance-off was brutal from that aspect. We were losing a choreography talent one way or another tonight in Oti or Katya. I think they will be back next year. It's just so frustrating. But don't worry, we still got the incredibly awkward Leavers interview tomorrow night to look forward to. Oh boy.
Oh god. Oh dear.
Popcorn.gif.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I don't know if anyone saw, but there's rumours that like Neil is going to partner Caroline Flack on the Christmas special.
Yay!
Rumours on the Daily Mail, so take whatever you want to take.
So somebody's going to dance with somebody on the Christmas special. I'm glad that we're...
Yes. Spoiler.
There may be dancing in the Christmas show. We're not sure yet.
Well, it's not always guaranteed, is it? So
I am going to be so soused in slow gin by that point on Christmas Day that it won't matter either way. Dancing a jive that would have had a proper Rocky Horror audience yelling, "Virgins!" It's Charles Venn and his partner, Karen. The biggest bottling ever.
Can I start on this? I have two major issues with this routine. Firstly, it's Rocky Horror Picture Show. We all know the outfits. Yes, you're playing Riff Raff, but we all know the outfits. You commit to it. At least you have suspenders or something. If not, you get the fishnet tights out, because who doesn't look great in fishnet tights? Secondly...
He's got a nice pair of legs on him. He should have had the hot pants on.
Exactly! Use them. You know, you're an actor. You've probably done more, humiliating things than, when you first started out acting. Let's be real here. Secondly, the time warp. Half of your routine is sorted with that chorus. Don't do a cack-handed... mishmash, I want to do this step, then I'll ignore this part of the song of an iconic dance. And that's on Karen. Like, put your hands on your hips, not grab your partner's hips and thrust towards each other, because that was weird. It was just like, Karen was like, why have I got the time? I don't want to do this dance. I hate this dance, but I'll do it my own unique way. And that just annoyed me beyond all belief. It's like, no, rule one, when you get a dance which has an iconic routine to it, you do it. No matter if you like it or not, you do it. And my highlight of this routine was, the first line I put was, I want those chairs from the VT because they looked really comfy and fancy.
Elliot, once again, we turn to the annals of most damning Strictly Dance reviews ever.
Yay! I'll say, sorry, it was... They had it given to them on a plate, and they literally just took it, flipped the table over, and walked out.
If I'd have brought toast, I wouldn't have thrown it at the screen. I would have just eaten it. It wasn't even worth it.
It was so infuriating. Oh.
Meg, you've been to a few audience participation showings in your time. How did this rank for you? He didn't dream it. He didn't be it either.
I probably would have had a little nap if this had been an audience participation show. He's not getting a pass now on affirmations or talking in the third person. I was going to give him passes. Not happening now.
You're giving him a pass beforehand?
No, I was going to. But that was just... like it said, I mean, you've got... The choreography for that song is so iconic. And then to just do those weird things, and slightly out of sync as well. Because I think by the time they'd done the weird grabbing each other's hips and thrusting at each other, they were already like 2 instructions before pelvic thrusts that will drive you insane. I was just like, no.
I think half the VT was Karen saying, these are the steps we're going to have to do. You take a jump to the left, and then, why have that as your VT when you're not going to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so many questions. Also, I made an actual serious point is that he had too much energy in his shoulders. He was shrugging a lot, but he had all the energy, so he needs to put that further down his body. In Latin, it was all up in the shoulders. I noticed
in
that.
This routine, they really built up the anticipation, and then they didn't deliver.
I wonder where you're going with that. I thought you might cut out.
No, I knew what she was doing. I was just wondering how long she was going to hold it for.
You can't have too many seconds of dead air.
Basically, for this dance, I kind of refer back to what I said with Thriller, is that if you do too much of it, you get damned, and if you don't do enough of it, you get damned. And they did it, but wrong, which is just unacceptable. And in the wrong timing, consistently. Oh, no. And it also made me think of Bad Summer Holidays, dancing to this and Agadoo, which wasn't a good memory. And the other one, Superman.
When thoughts of black lace come unbidden to your mind, you know you're having a real bad time.
It was.
Okay.
Vicky, have you got anything sensible to say about this?
Sensible, I'm not sure about that, but the only kind of technical point I know, other than the timing, was that he just didn't point his feet, and I don't know whether that was like a on the night thing, but how do you not correct that as a professional, as a teacher? I don't understand. It just really bothered me because his retractions were quite good, I thought, but it was just flappy feet on the end, which was very, very frustrating.
I've noticed a lot of flappy feet this year.
Don't get me started. Because those not real shoes don't help, even though I think he had shoes on. But and what else was going to... This dance just brought back memories of the, I think, superior in different ways, Michelle Williams and Brendan Cole version with Brendan in his skull cap, which I looked
That
up.
was better. Yes.
Who was the last time walk dance? Was it Kirsty and Brendan? Did they do the time walk, or was it Jamelia? I know both of them had...
I'm just bringing up
It's
the
been used
list
a few
now.
times, I know it has.
The list that we use is at ultimatestrictly.com. They are absolutely amazing.
I know a time warp normally ends you up in the dance-off, I know that much, because it hasn't been a good dance for the two people that have done it prior, which I'm pretty sure was Kirsty, who got eliminated, and Jamelia, who was in the dance-off on Halloween
Kirsty
week.
wouldn't have done it if she was with Brendan as well, would she? I don't remember her doing
Hang
it.
on.
I'm sure she
Hang
did.
on. Hang
We'll
on.
find
Hang
out.
on. Control F. Time warp. Right. 3 time warps have been performed in the history of Strictly. Michelle and Brendan, Jamelia and Tristan, and Charles and Karen.
Tristan.
No, I was wrong.
God,
Well done, Elliot.
Tristan.
Apologies.
Tristan was the one that looked like he was he was going to be the new bad boy, but mainly it just looked like he
Yeah.
was standing at the back, going, "Oh my God, what am I doing?"
Tristan was too adorable to be the bad boy. He was a charming Irish man.
Yeah.
He was.
No one got his extremely dry sense of humour, and I just, it was never quite appreciated for Strictly.
No.
Yeah,
It was-
Strictly is a bit too.
Obvious.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody who's ever really been sarky on Strictly and had it work.
Yeah, no,
Strictly's
exactly. It's just not the right platform, is
dictionary
it?
definition of earnest.
Like, I think Sophie Ellis Bextor might have gotten away with being arch, but that's not exactly sarky, is it?
Strictly's very literal when we think about it, because sarcasm hasn't landed, like, once. So it's a very literal program, it feels like.
Well, I think, like, when Anton's jokes fall flat, that's him doing sarcasm and it not working.
That's just Anton being Anton, it's just annoying.
I'm trying to give Anton the
But
benefit of the doubt.
When you do sarcasm on Strictly as well, you've also got Tess Daly responding to you, and she doesn't know how to respond to it, so that just blocks it.
Yeah, sarcasm isn't in her hard drive.
Yeah, exactly.
She needs a firmware
does not
update.
compute the sarcasm.
She needs a new plugin.
It just says, huh?
It was like when Sean said in his exit speech, "Oh, you know, the last few weeks have not been that great," kind of sarcastically, and she just blank face at him.
Yeah, and no one laughed in the audience. It's like, oh, come on. Like, even I would chuckle a bit at that.
Yeah.
I wonder if Tess thinks she's personally responsible if anything like off cue happens. Like, she hasn't personally signed the forms. The producers signed them. Tess will be
Of course she
fine.
will. Oh, well.
Nobody blames you, Tess. You can't help how you're programmed. Dancing the Couple's Choice Musical Theatre that's a crossover between Funny Bones, Sunglasses at Night and The Human Centipede. It's Faye Toza and her partner Giovanni. I liked this, but it was Britain's Got Talent, not Strictly.
Yeah, what does Fever have to do with Halloween? Nothing.
What does Fever have to do with Skellingtons?
Yeah, it was a show dance. I mean, I loved it. It was a very sexy artistic show dance, but it was a show dance. Also, I never knew Giovanni could be so good at being sassy with doing head rolls in his hips. He's extremely sassy.
It was. Both of them were giving it the full Fosse. It just seems at 90 degrees to Strictly.
Yeah, but
we.
I think
Is that
this
what
the
Strictly
problem with
wants,
Couples
though?
This
Choice.
is what we do now, apparently.
I mean, you know, all jokes aside, this was a fantastic, fabulous routine, and credit to the pair of them because this was fantastic. It just irks me even more that this actually tied for the top when it should have been the clear winner. When we compare Faye and Ashley's routines, yeah, this was just really good. But if they do it again, I don't think they're going to do it in the final because then it would just be another show dance because the Couple's Choice is effectively your show dance in one of 3 categories, which are very broad categories. Because, like Craig said, with theatre, you can do anything and everything. You've got jazz, you've got tap, you've got so much that classes as theatre now. The sky is the limit. As Tess said, no rules. So it's effectively you're doing a show dance in week 6, not week 12.
There's no proper metal musicals. There's nothing where you could have a really good mosh and call that a theatre routine. Why hasn't anybody done a proper metal musical? I'm sure, there's a theatrical...
There's a Bat Out of Hell.
That's not
musical.
metal, though. That's sort of classic rock.
I know, but that's That's about as close as you can
I
get.
wonder if this is something I would have to go to Finland for.
I really, really love this. Yeah, I love this. It's really weird because when I went to dancing school when I was like in 7, 8, 9, 10, like we just did Bob Fosse. We didn't realise that's what we were doing. We used to do all that jazz and all those kind of musicals, and that's what we'd do in our competitions, and it was just the normal done thing. And it was only like when you actually look at everything and you go, oh, that's why it's like this, and that's why it's all bent over, and that's why he does all these things, and so I'm really ingrained in that style of dance. So I was always gonna love this, and I think with Faye it was always gonna be done well. Although at the very, very beginning, it with her, the way she was dressed and her ponytail and her makeup reminded me of the Lady Gaga video.
I was going to say
Born This Way?
Yes.
And I would have liked to have seen a bit more Gaga in it. I know that's not theatre, but it would have been nice to have had something a bit more, not vulgar, grotesque. It was a bit neat. Even dress
controlled, wasn't
even
it?
dress. It would have been nice to have gone a bit more extreme. But I was always going to love it.
I loved it too. I was wanting Faye to have a breakout dance, and where she'd really emerge from the crowd. And for me, it had so much more finesse than anything Ashley's done. And I think she really, emerged as not just as good as Ashley, but better. Technically, it was really tight. I mean, it wasn't wrapped up in the concept that Ashley had. So I don't know, but I just really loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. The only thing that confused me is that we had this very wholesome, sweet VT about her son and, life after steps, to her basically being, for lack of a better term, sex on legs for 90 seconds. Filler.
The couple's choice VT is just going to be your personal X Factor sob story, though.
True. But it was just like,
just
this
love the
really
bit
wholesome VT, and then it's like, and now this, and then in the results show, back to your wholesomeness with your son after you've just done that.
Dancing the Foxtrot and finally becoming the young adult novel vampire boyfriend of all of our dreams, it's Joe Sugg. And I really liked this one. I am starting to not be at the point where I'm going to begrudge Joe the win that he's going to get. Anne.
He's perfectly good in hold. I really like him in hold. He's got a good frame, and he was able to show that with all the kind of ins and outs in the routine, because that could have looked really, really messy. And I also think that it was one of the least Halloween-y routines of the night, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think, the fact that it could have worked without all of the gubbins going on with his face and was it a waltzer?
Yeah, it was a waltz.
Going on, it would have worked perfectly fine as a kind of normal bog standard, no theme week routine. The other thing that I've started to notice is that last week Joe was on after the big camp Stacey routine, and this week he was straight after whiz bang thank you ma'am Faye routine. And I just wonder whether they just think they'll stick him on after that because they know he's going to get the votes anyway.
Yeah, Joe is immune to memory holding.
Yeah.
So memory holding is the technique where you put somebody on after the big showy number, and if you want to get rid of them, people will still be talking about the dance before and too busy to notice them. But yeah, because Joe's vote is entirely independent of how he dances, you can put Joe wherever.
Yeah, the running order's never going to hurt him, which is probably why he's never closed the show either, because he doesn't need the added windfall you get of closing a show.
He might.
Like, unless there's like 5 or 6 left, he doesn't need it right now. So like, he doesn't need to be a show closer.
When we get towards the end of the contest, and they are going to have to start ramping it up so that it looks plausible that he will beat Ashley and Faye to the win, they're going to have to start ramping it up a bit.
Yeah, but the only thing Halloween leading into this was that the song was called Young Blood, and because there was blood in the title, they went Halloween. But yeah, I agree with Anne. Like, you could have stripped that all back. He could have just done a foxtrot next week to this song, and it wouldn't have made a blind bit of notice. He wasn't boxed in by Halloween theme. He's improved his posture and his frame so much, and yeah, you know, he's doing well. But again, it just comes back to my thing of he looked like he enjoyed it more this week. But again, Halloween is a very character-driven week. So even if they just have to make up these characters for Joe each week so he can get into a mindset of, you know, being something else and not thinking about it too much, they should just do that, because you could just see he wasn't stressing about it this week. And that's what was really nice to see.
Yeah, and Diane's really looking after him. I don't think she gives him anything that is too scary to do. She just pushes him enough each week.
Yeah, I'm really pleasantly surprised by Dan's teaching. Actually, I mean, I didn't really have her in. Hadn't marked her card at all, but I think she's pitching it just right for him. Although I just am finding his ballroom competent, but a little bit forgettable. But like you say, it doesn't really matter when or where he goes in the show. He's still going to get the vote. So all good for Joe. His
YouTube views are back up. Last week they took a dip, but he's back up to the staggeringly consistent 357,000 YouTube views in 24 hours, which is a lot.
What's everyone else getting?
So Giovanni and Faye and Ashley and Pasha got 116,000 each, and then it's down to Kevin and Stacey at 85,000. The lowest is 20,000, and that was Kate and Aliash.
I think your 4 finalists are marked already then.
Yes, I think we know what is going to happen.
Let's just drag it out for another 6 weeks though, yeah?
There's plenty to talk about. In fact, I ended up doing a bit of investigative journalism about the history and origins of the song Witch Doctor this week, so you can't say that Strictly doesn't occasionally throw up something interesting. Dancing the Paso Doble and looking authentically furious to be dancing with a jerkin-wearing oik in bad extensions, it's Lauren Steadman and her partner AJ. AJ, I will never get tired of dragging your extensions.
He looks like a terrible Legolas cosplayer. He was a boy dressed as a man, and it was just weird.
He wasn't filling that jerkin out.
Right then.
Oh man, saucer of milk for table number 2, please.
And also, can we also say we were right about the comedy VCs where AJ's like, we're going to do apple bobbing, and Lauren's like, why aren't we training? Like, and her face looked Jessie's like, why are we doing this? I want to be in the training room. Why are we doing this? Get me out of here. Anyone, blink twice for help. She that was a waste of time in her eyes. You could see it.
Yeah, it was a waste of time. It was a waste of time in everybody's eyes. The most expensive entertainment show on the BBC does the cheapest VTs. It's beautiful. It's thanks to the magic of how the BBC is funded. We call this entertainment. Meg.
As unimpressed as she was by having to bob for apples, she actually got one, and I don't think AJ did.
There was a lot of crap apple bobbing. Crap apple bobbing this week. Because did you see on Friday It Takes Two?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought Kevin was doing very well. I mean, he that was a nasty trick he was playing with the whole taking them out of his bowl and dropping them in the next run along.
Well, you know, all's fair in crap apple bobbing.
It's just a shame because obviously AJ looked stupid, for lack of a better word, and Lauren looked amazing.
Lauren looked so fierce. It was wonderful.
She looked absolutely stunning, and she did an amazing job as well with her passo. Like being serious, like we said, we wanted her to do like a tango or a passo because it would suit her character, and it did. She just basically got to look really, really annoyed and angry at AJ for 90 seconds and effectively kill him at the end of the dance.
Just get it all out, love. Get it all out.
There was no acting involved at all. It's just how she's really feeling.
Also, Carl Shows has just sat there counting her royalty checks. Just like, yep, my song's now played to 12 million people. Sweet.
Imagine being one of our lovely Strictly Band singers, knowing that Nicole is in the audience there, and you're just going to give it your best shot. Although you're doing it live sans auto-tune, and I don't know that Nicole ever did.
I mean, it sounded pretty close to original, but a part of me did expect like Nicole Scherzinger just to walk on, like snatch the microphone and just like start singing from the top of the stairs or something. Because
Nah, that's extra.
But no, back on the dance. Yeah, it was Lauren's best dance. She needed a breakthrough this week, otherwise it was pretty much going to be curtains for her. I'm glad she's had it. Now she's on that next tier, so to speak. Let's hope she stays up there because she can do it.
It probably, let's face it, still is going to be curtains for her. Although she does have the tango in her back pocket. None of the girls have done their American smooths yet. That's going to be interesting.
Oh, she's still got her rumba though, hasn't she?
Yeah, but she did a Latin. Maybe they will let her.
Maybe. I mean, I just want her to do well because she is doing well. Yay.
I really like her. Like, I think she's probably one of my favourite personalities in the show. Again, just because for her like obvious disdain for all the time wasting VTs and how I'm not convinced she likes AJ as a person. But her disdain for AJ in general and his situation. But no, I'm really glad the passo suited her because I thought it might. I thought it had a chance. It might be quite weak, but she came through strong, and I thought she looked as powerful as she should for this dance. I'm worried she's got a jive next week, and I just think it's going to be messy. I can't imagine it being anything other than messy.
Has she got a jive?
Wrong, I think they said that on the results show.
Oh no!
I'm not sure.
If I'm wrong, please cut this out.
Well, the thing is, I won't know until Tuesday when it will be out.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really pretty sure if I watch a bit of the result, because I was going to tweet, but I didn't send it in the end. That Lauren had a jive, and yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Well, she survived couple's choice.
She did.
She did.
She was styled like Maleficent, wasn't she? Like that's the angle they were going with, wasn't it? That's what I got with the horn, with like the crown and everything.
She didn't have the horns. She was just like generic, fierce, evil, yes, queen, right?
She was like the Wicked Witch from Snow White.
Yeah.
I mean, either works, but I just saw it and went, oh, she looks like Maleficent. That just really suits her.
I loved her putting the apple on Craig's desk as well. She's just really fierce and sassy. It was great.
Yeah, it's just her walk over as she did it, which sold it for me. Just like without missing a beat, nothing said, just walked over, placed it delicately and walked back. I was like, oh, this is just... I just loved her for that.
Proper butter wouldn't melt evil.
And the fact that it just preceded AJ dying really hammily on the end of the dance, and she's just preoccupied with the apple situation that doesn't give a crap about that.
She's like, oh, AJ's on the floor, and there's my apple, and we're over here.
Yeah,
AJ,
exactly.
come on.
I think she views him as just like... you're in an athletics setup. You can't always help who you train with. Sometimes your training partner is just really annoying, and you've just got to knuckle down and get through it the best you can. Oh, AJ, we can't stop dragging you. We just think you need to maybe take a couple of years out and come back to the show with a few of your sharp edges knocked off and with a bit more life experience and wisdom.
I do think he is lovely. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's a bad person or anything, but just like as a professional, it doesn't work. And considering he is 22, he's young. There are other people who could that age that could easily take a spot. Most notably, there's a dancer called Luke Miller who's a DSI not ambassador, but he's sponsored by them, and he was in all like the sort of like training tip videos with Shirley this weekend. If you saw, Shirley was dancing with a young lad.
Oh, is that Shirley's friend?
Yeah, and his parents are dance teachers. And they have a dance school in Norwich, and he's a fantastic dancer, currently competing still. And he's 21. He could easily come in next year and take AJ's spot. Like if he's friends with Shirley Ballas, like he's on the right track.
There's also a whole passel of them on Dancing with the Stars Island as well.
Yes,
Who
Kai, Ryan, Ksenia, who are all British and have all tried out for Strictly and haven't got on, so they're doing Dancing with the Stars in Ireland.
Yeah, Emily Barker as well. She's really cool.
Yeah.
just
There's a plethora of British talent.
I'm quite annoyed.
They're all waiting.
I'm quite annoyed with RTE for making it so difficult to watch Dancing with the Stars.
I mean, I just like watching it and going, that was a Strictly dress, and that was a Strictly dress, and that was a Strictly dress, because they just shipped them off the island.
Well, I wouldn't want those beautiful creations to only get one shot.
Of course not.
I've got lost in a vortex of being beastly to AJ. Are we done with the dancers?
Yes, she
Yeah.
closed the show.
Well, Halloween. Notable occurrences in the results show, mainly OT fronting the pros routine, and for once it was
Queen.
worth talking about. A bit of Game of
love
Thrones
that.
going on.
I loved that performance, like Ali Ash being the king, and then him and like OT coming in. The only thing it needed was when she was sat there with the crown, and she just winked at the camera. If she did that, it would have been perfect.
Do you know?
But I loved this performance. It was brilliant.
I haven't done it again. I haven't gone through all the videos and worked out who's looking down the camera or not. I meant to do it last week. I will go through and do it. It only takes 20 minutes to watch all of the dances. Can you imagine? We're watching this show for 2 hours and there's 20 minutes of dancing.
So 100 minutes of filler, basically.
Well, you said it.
They mentioned the name of the choreographer of that OT Aliash routine, and I can't remember it now, but I just thought it was really well done, a really awesome routine, and I hope they use her more because I was getting a little bit tired of the general Gilkison fare we get.
Oh, was it not Jason Gilkson? I thought it was.
It wasn't.
A female
woman, I
choreographer
thought.
who they had. Did they have her on Thursday or Fridays? It takes two.
Yeah, they did, and I can't remember her name.
Because we've not
But-
grown as familiar with her work as we have the work of Jason Gilkison. But very good. We'll mention her in the show notes.
I particularly liked the bit where they both dropped through the table. That was I thought, very
Yeah.
clever. And then OT came out victorious.
As she always does. So,
Indeed.
we've made it through another Halloween with only minor body paint poisoning. We've got a bit of admin to do. We need to get a frock of the week. Let's have your nominations and votes. Anne.
I really liked Diane's dress, but actually the dress that I really liked this week is really random. Is Darcy's dress that she wore in the results show.
The velvety one.
I love that colour. I'm a sucker for that colour, and also the dresses that they wore in the opening, the floral see-through numbers that they wore.
The traditional Mexican dresses.
Yes, I love those.
Elliot.
So I had a three-way tie all day, but I finally made a decision. The ones that nearly got it were Diane's and Darcy's dress from last night, her sort of latex and lace thing. I thought that was lovely. But my actual winner is Lauren, because she looked amazing.
Yeah. Seems fair to me. Vicky.
I'm going to go with Lauren as well, the anticipation. I thought she looked stunning, with an honourable mention to Darcy's leather vampy look.
Woo. Meg.
I'm also on Team Lauren this week. I thought that was a really stunning dress.
And it's nearly a clean sweep. Lauren absolutely bossing it as the evil queen. Beautiful front, beautiful back, beautiful dance. Congratulations, Lauren and DSI. So that is all of the important stuff wrapped up. And we're back to whatever passes for normal in these neighbourhoods next week. Anything anybody wants to say? Anything anybody wants to look out for over the next week?
So, have we got, did I catch it correctly? Kevin and Stacey are doing Couple's Choice Contemporary
No,
street.
they're doing street.
No.
They're not doing contemporary.
Street.
They're doing street.
They're just saying street. Okay.
So
This could be interesting.
That's going to be amazing.
Kill me.
Or an absolute car crash. There is going to be no middle ground with that.
I'm just thinking it's going to be Boom Boom Shake the
Shake
Room
the
Part
Room,
2,
yes.
Oh
right?
no.
And bear in mind that...
Yes, it's going to be that.
Boom!
And that got Kevin in the dance-off when he did that, and it was an absolute mess. So... Oh no. Oh. So this is the week. This is the week when a certain finalist knocks out a fan favourite. Then
I don't know. I don't know.
shall we get ready for a Stacey Range dance off then?
Oh,
'Cause
God.
I don't sure this will work.
It's just going to be a Kevin on E numbers fest. And I can't handle it.
It was the fact that he said street dance with a twist that worries me.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't need it with a twist.
It's already got a twist in. You don't need to twist it. You are twisting my
Untwist it.
melons, man.
Twisting melons. Is he the twist and shout as he does it though?
So we'll be watching their Insta story training footage with great interest and trepidation.
I just want it to be Tuesday and see what they're dancing to. Then, oh my god,
I'm going to be
so
interested
worried.
to see what Ian says about it on when he does like Ian's close-up look at the choreography.
Ian's Team Joe, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Team Joe are adorable. They're finally getting the winners, like the breakout curve, and it looks like the top 4 from last night are going to be the top 4 in 6 weeks' time. And I found it quite telling that they both tied with each other. That Stacey and Joe tied, and then Faye and Ashley tied. So it's like those are like the 2 mini battles going on at the minute.
The thing is, though, we can't take the rest of the series off. We have to keep going through this hollow charade week after week.
Oh, don't worry. They keep painting people and keep putting people in terrible hair extensions, and we've got plenty of firepower. It's fine.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. All right.
Please call this episode a hollow charade. It's so accurate.
A hollow Halloween charade. Right. And with that, I think we're all absolutely spent. It's time for us to go hang upside down from the rafters and get our spooky beauty sleep. Good night, Anne.
Goodbye.
Good night, Elliot.
Good night.
Good night, Vicky.
Good night.
Good night, Meg.
Good night.
And remember at home, keep dancing.